Assalamualaikum, welcome to our vlog. My name is Hani Zafira binti Osman and today we'll be discuss on new academic policy. So let's go.
Okay, hey guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Najiha binti Johari. So for the introduction, first and foremost, I would like to talk about the policy problem. So on May 13 in 1969, there was a tragedy of racial riots and the culmination of the problem of unity in Malaysia. The tragedy resulted in loss of life and property and was closely related to 1969 general election and is a black spot in Malaysian history. Traditional economic systems such as system based on self-sufficiency, rice cultivation, fishing and farm farming in Malaya have also experienced changes because of the British rule. The British colonial rule and the split strategy have had a substantial impact on the economic divide. The Malay community is primarily made up of farmers and fishermen who live in a village. The Chinese group is primarily made up of traders who reside in urban areas, and the Indian community is made up of farmers who work in estate area. So the effort to achieve the better racial integration is hampered by this. As a result, this will trigger a dispute which will result in the tragedy of May 13, 1969. So next, I would like to talk about the evolution of new economic policy (NEP). So the new economic policy (NEP) was announced in 1917 as a part of a package of measures introduced after the political crisis of May 1969. The new economic policy (NEP) was launched by the government of Malaysia in 1971 under the Prime Minister Tun Abdul Razak. The objectives are to eradicate poverty and to restructure society in Malaysia. And then, new economic policy was reformed as the National Development Policy, which aimed to increase the wealth and economic potential of Bumiputra, especially in the aspect of education and employment in the public service. NDP was introduced by Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad in order to enhance the welfare of nations comparing the world, even though this policy is replaced, but it's also the new economic policy which is still being continued. National Development Policy (NDP) was started in 1991 and ended in 2000. So the objective of this policy is to strengthen the social and political stability and maintain sustainable economic development. Okay, next, National Vision Policy is an extension of the National Development Policy (NEP), which is under the coverage of 8 and 9 Malaysia plans where it was established in 2001 to 2010.
So guys, there are two objectives of NEP. Number one is to eradicate poverty. Number two is to restructure the society.
Hello, good morning everyone. How was your day today? Alright, so my name is Nashafika binti Masrum and today I will continue to talk about the strategies of new academic policy. Did you know that each policy made has its own objective? This is to guide each implementing groups as well as management groups towards the implementation of their respective tasks. So, in the implementation of new economic policy, the two-pronged concept is very popular because there is two goals outlined in this policy, namely eradicating poverty and reorganizing society in our country. So, firstly, the poverty eradication on strategies implemented in the new economic policy is to modernize the living condition of low-income people, whether in the city or in the countryside. So, Green Book Plan Nationalism was launched by Tun Abdul Razak Hussein on 20 December 1974. The goal of the plan is to increase people's income and food production, so that is enough to the country's needs. Secondly, the government also expands employment opportunities for all Malaysians regardless of race as part of the poverty eradication strategy. The government has opened up more job opportunities for all races without being tied to the broken economic policy and colonial order. Several government agencies were established to diversify economic activities that can be increase people's income and open more job opportunities for all races. Among these agencies include Lembaga Beras dan Padi Negara (LPN), Lembaga Pertubuhan Peladang (LPP), Lembaga Kemajuan Ikan Malaysia (LKIM), Pihak Berkuasa Kemajuan Pekebun Kecil Berusahaan Getah Risda. And thirdly, the government has also encouraged the participation of all races in sectors with high potential and high productivity, such as business industry and services. For example, small and medium enterprise, which is SME. This is intended so that Malaysians with large capital are encouraged to venture into high potential fields while helping the country's economic development by creating more job opportunities for all races. And lastly is to further develop the productive capacity of the poor, which in turn can increase the income of the population. The government is increasing opportunities to convert activities that have low productivity to high productivity, such as the FELDA and FELCRA. So, the FELDA's roles is to implement initiatives related to agricultural, commercial, and industrial social economy, as well as the land development, while FECRA is to enhance the quality of life of focus groups, such as the participants' community, as well as FELCRA's Berhad's human capital improve productivity level through latest technologies in efficient management. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurani Binti Syamsuddin, and now I will be brief shortly regarding on the strategy that has been implemented during the ongoing of new economic policy. As we know, they have a two objective of the new economic policy, and one of them is to restructuring the society and eliminate the identification of race with economic functions. Restructuring society is a very important in a multi-racial country because to ensure the stable and comprehensive basis of community unity from division and abolish the negative effect from occur at the past. The first strategy has been done to reorganize the society is by developing areas that have a high potential to help people in the rural area having a proper living standard. This is because by running these efforts, government believe that it will have in the reducing the inequality of living standard. For example, the build up of the new land development under the FELDA towards the settler or the Malay society in the rural area is really helps the settler and Malay society Malay community there in terms of improving their economy by utilizing the land provided to them in agriculture sector. The next strategy to restructuring the society based on new economic policy plan is by starting restructuring employment. This is because to ensure the balance of quality life of people and sustain a better unity among the Malaysian. By restructuring the employment, also will help to reducing the existing imbalance in employment structure in a progressive manner. Even during the NEP was run also, private sector itself will support this strategy implemented by government through encouraging the restructuring workforce at all level of occupation throughout job placement and sponsorship scheme. The third strategy government middle up in order to restructuring the society is increasing the participation of Bumiputra people ownership in the private sector and business. This is because the Bumiputra has been lagging behind in economy ownership since our country achieved the independence. To attract more participation of Bumiputra people into this field, they have a lot of benefit and privileges as prepared credit loan assistance, business training, provided course, and economy development course to help polish the skill of Bumiputra traders. This all benefit be provided by the government through the agency of Badan National, Federal Industrial Development Authority, and Malaysian Industrial Development Finance. The fourth strategy is enhance the equity restructuring program. This program leading to the emerging of building trading community among the Bumiputra. This kind of effort was be fully having supported by government throughout the awarding of contract, quota and license to Bumiputra own a business and joint venture company with Bumiputra. The other related agency involved in running this effort is Urban Development Authority, Permodalan Nasional Berhad, and Amanah Saham Nasional Berhad. The last but not least, to restructuring society in developing the balanced equality of human capital in the market, government has expanded the skill of human capital program among Bumiputra in order to ensure our Bumiputra generation is not left behind in achieving the competition in the future. This effort including the open of Mara Juniors Science College or also be known as MRSM for Bumiputra further expand education opportunities with a scholarship within and outside the state where the priority also be given to the Bumiputra and increasing the training skill program under the Yacht Training Center, Higher Institutes of Mara and the Institute Skill of Mara. That's all from me.
Hello and hi everyone, my name is Nur Shahila binti Jaafar. The evaluations of the policy we can relate with the objective in the new economic policy. Regarding the first objective, we can identify that before the implementations of new economic policy in the 1970s, the incidence of poverty in rural areas was 58.7% and the incidence of poverty in urban areas was 21.3%. After 14 years of new economic policy being implemented, the incidence of poverty decreased as in the rural area the incidence of poverty became 24.7%. Concurrently, the incidence of poverty in the urban area was 8.2%. Significantly, we can evaluate that the percentage of poverty incidence in the both area has steadily declined. Hence, it clearly shows that the first objective of new economic policy, which is to eradicate the poverty, has been achieved by Malaysian government. The efforts of eliminating the poverty in the country succeed due to very impressive poverty reductions in the early 1980s. Indirectly, people improve their standard of living and exit themselves from poverty. According to the second objective of the new economic policy, which is to restructure the society in order to disassociate race from economic function, there was a record of percentage 68.7% Malay who were involved in the agriculture activities as compared to 17.3% Chinese and 9.7% Indian before the executions of new economic policy. There is also the identifications of percentage employment by occupation and ethnic group in professional and technical, whereas Bumiputra record as 47%, Chinese record as 39.5%, and Indian record as 10.8% in 1970. After the executions of new economic policy, as compared in 1970, the employment by occupation and ethnic group in professional and technical, Bumiputra record as 63.9%, Chinese record as 25.8% and Indian record as 7.65% in the years of 2000. Evidently, it revealed that there was a greatly rising employment by occupation and ethnic group within 30 years. In addition, there was also the existence of statutory bodies that helped the government to facilitate the Malays' entry into urban sector. For instance, the statutory bodies such as Majlis Amanah Rakyat are the bodies that contributed in achieving the objective in order to restructure the society and assisting Bumiputra engaged in all kinds of professional and technical sector. Malay engaging in professional and technical technique, which increased from 10% in 1990 to 12.7% in 1995. Within 5 years, Malay's involvement in employment increased by 2.7% through tertiary education that broadly gave access to the profession and activities such as administrative sector, clerical, teachers, nurse, and modern agriculture. Therefore, with the second objective of new economic policy, it can be concluded that the gap between races and the state eventually narrowed down. Thus, the government succeeded in achieving the second objective effectively.
Recommendation for poverty, number 1 is an EP should focus on the agriculture sector. And as an example, an EP can make a program that will provide employment or even entrepreneurship skills, so the citizen, the poor citizen especially, can make money from their skills. Number 2 is NEP should be more equal, especially in gender equality. In agriculture sector, women on 20% less than men that works in agriculture sector, but the woman gives 60% of workforce in that sector. This is not fair. To put in situation, if a single mother that have to raise 5 children and she works in agriculture sector will always remain poor because she have the same responsible as the man that work in that sector but have different wages from the man that work in the sector. The recommendation for restructure the society, number 1, to do a program on STEM. In this program, all races should be involved. Malay, Chinese, India, all should be involved. With this involvement, it will enhance the STEM development and also enhance the harmony of the society in Malaysia. Number 2, NEP should make a lot of program or even campaign based on unity. Unity through sport is the most effective ways. So as an example, if we Malaysian cheers for the athletes in the stadium, the ethnicity of the athlete is...
Okay, as a conclusion, the new economic policy, NEP establishment and implementation in Malaysia have a favorable effect of the country's economy, since the policy is able to address both the nation economy and social concern. Additionally, this approach has been successfully in eradicating poverty and restructuring the society to do away with the association of race and economic status. The new economic policy employ a variety of strategies to build a cohesive society through a healthy economy. The new economic policy and EP is no longer in effect or permanent, yet modification has persisted. The government chose to construct the National Development Policy NDP and also the National Vision Policy NVP after the new economic policy was discovered to have brought about numerous improvements to the national economy and be able to move toward become a developed country. And that's all for our group presentation. Thank you so much.